Okay, these are the best books. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna do two videos. I was gonna do five, but I'm just gonna do another two more, and then I'm done. But I'm gonna tell you the best books you can buy for starting your business, or if you're going into a new business, which are the best books you can buy. So I have two examples here, and these examples are just examples, and I'm gonna tell you how to find the right book for you guys. So I love this one. This is Negotiation. It's just an old book. Um, and it really gives you some basic principles that a lot of these sales guys are talking about. You can probably become an expert sales, motivational speaker, or negotiation speaker after you read a book like this. This is a textbook from a college. So I'm going to show you guys one more. I invest in a lot of land, so this one's great. This is actually my textbook from college again, Real Estate Principles by Charles Floyd, and this is actually a really good book. If you don't know about real estate, pretty much courses that you're paying, 3,000, 4,000. So let me get to my point. My point is, a lot of times you guys are looking to start up new businesses, and what are the best books for you? So there's a lot of business books out there, but I'll tell you something I found out starting one of my e-commerce businesses, and textbooks are amazing. So Punchline textbooks, go out there and look for textbooks, and I'll tell you why. When I started one of my e-commerce businesses, and it's actually right up there, NickyNice.com, we had an Amazon store, we had an eBay store, we have an Amazon store, we have an eBay store, and we're growing, all these sort of e-commerce platforms. And now I have a degree in business, and I have a degree in law. So I realized after about a year, I was moderately successful, and I wanted to learn more. So I went looking for e-commerce books, and what I found was an e-commerce textbook. And after I ordered it, it was an old textbook. It probably cost me about $20. It was an older edition. The newer editions, if you ever go to college, you realize these books are $100, $200, $300. And a lot of people can't understand or conceptualize the return on investment in that book. But here's the truth. In any industry, whether it's real estate, whether it's negotiations, whether it's e-commerce, whether it's finance, whether it's accounting, there's going to be a PhD out there that already did all the homework, that already analyzed the whole industry. And the beautiful thing about textbooks in particular, when you're in a startup, is that they give you the basis knowledge of everything you need to know. And as an example, I've been a lifelong entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I'm 34. I had a lemonade stand when I was 8. Had my own businesses when I was 16. So, I've tried a lot of different things. And what I realized, and this was only happened to me 3 years ago, is when you pick up a textbook, what it does is it gives you A to Z, and it doesn't leave anything out. So a lot of times you don't know the question to ask. And as a pure example, I realized after a year in e-commerce, this thing called the catalog effect, right? And I had reverse engineered this understanding that the more products I was putting up, the more blog posts I was putting up, the more content I was putting up, the more traffic I was getting, the more customers I was getting, the more money I was making. And after looking at all this data, I said, man, this catalog effect. And I wrote a little bit about it, I even vlogged about it. And I pick up a textbook. So finally I ordered this textbook. I said, I need to learn more about e-commerce. So I pick up a textbook. And there was only a few colleges at the time, which is another reason why I like textbooks, because colleges like Harvard or Stanford, they have a textbook for entrepreneurialism. They're 101, right? Or startups 101 or e-commerce 101, right? There's very few colleges that do that. And what I found is, for example, e-commerce, there's very few colleges, and usually they were the Ivy League schools that had them as an option, had these classes in e-commerce. So long story short, I pick up the book and realize that the catalog effect is literally in chapter 1, right? They didn't say it the same way I said it, but you can kind of reverse engineer what they were talking about. So I spent a year figuring this out when it was in chapter 1 of book 101, right? So you hear a lot of people say investment in education and your knowledge is there's a big ROI, big return on investment. That's super true. But in any field you are, I truly believe that textbooks are the way to go. Same thing with this one, I see a lot of courses out there. I took this at UConn, University of Connecticut, Real Estate Principles. And this really teaches you everything from covenant to, I took it again in law school, real property law. I took 2 classes there, right? So total, I think of, I don't know what they're, 40, 80, 120 hours of training, something like that. In real estate. But my point is that this book really covered everything. This book really covered everything in undergrad. And now when I look at new industries, whether it's land investing, e-commerce, SEO, social media. I try to go to some textbook because they took a long time to compile all this information, and they're usually textbooks 101, 102, right? If the class is 101, if you have finance 101 or finance 102, if you read those books in order, you're going to get that education. You're going to get that college education, that MBA education from the textbook. Now, whether you read it or not is a different story, but the point is you're not going to miss anything when you read textbooks like this, as opposed to some other business books. Other business books on real estate may teach you what that entrepreneur, that business executive learned, whereas a textbook is going to make sure to be as complete as possible, or as complete as you can get in any sector or field. So that's my tip for entrepreneurs. That's my biggest tip for, what books to read when you're an entrepreneur, is really go find the textbook in whatever industry you're in, because those textbooks are so complete. They're usually written by PhDs over the course of years, and there's a lot of thought and time and energy put into these books. So these are good books if you want to learn about real estate investing or negotiation, but really any book. I have literally hundreds of textbooks home, and I paid 99 cents a dollar for them on eBay after they're in their second or third edition, because the newer editions are always like 200, 300 bucks. So I think it's a great tip. If you got any other tips on what books to read, put them in the comment section below. Follow me on Twitter. If you want to talk to me, just at me, and I respond pretty quickly. I'm pretty sociable on there. And if you like the channel, subscribe to the channel. We'll talk again soon, guys. Thanks for joining another episode of An Entrepreneur's Journey.